Hello, world, and welcome back to my world, where I will be spending this entire episode pretty much just sorting, grinding, sorting, and grinding. As my projects get bigger and bigger, they require more and more resources. They also produce more and more resources, which need to be sorted and moved around. It's basically like a line graph, constantly leading upwards. Eventually, all of the work and maintenance that'll need to be done on all these machines will overcome my ability to make new ones. I really need to fix this with some shulker boxes, but I don't have access to the end yet because I haven't gone on that little adventure to kill the Ender Dragon. So for now, I just have to work harder at it. Things have been going pretty good. I'm getting a good steady rate of gunpowder, rotten flesh, arrows, pretty much everything I could want from this mob grinder. But of course I want to do some kind of build for today's episode, so as soon as I'm done organizing all of this stuff into its various locations, I'm going to get right on that. I started by running back to that place where I kidnapped some villagers, and I grabbed some of the local animals. Mostly just pigs and sheep. I didn't really see anything, but I was able to grab some chicken eggs, so maybe I'll get lucky and actually be able to hatch some chickens when I get home. But for now, pigs and sheep are going to be today's project. Dragging animals through the water tied to the back of a boat. I hope PETA's not watching. Last thing I want to deal with is a bunch of hypocrites. I think you all know the drill for most of this resource collection. Go grab some rare resource in a faraway land and bring it back to my island. So I'm going to skip most of the nitty-gritty of getting them out of the boat and into position. For once during these little projects, I have an exact idea as to what I want. Instead of simply just blindly running forward and hoping to God I make something that works, I'm going to plan it all out, and I have. I'm going to use this scaffolding, build up to the sky limit, or maybe not that high, but high enough. Then I'm going to construct some kind of pad to put the sheep on. I then want to make some kind of carousel device that move the sheep all around while they graze on grass and automatically shear them using one dispenser. That means I'll have this constant cycling sheep farm up here in the clouds. It should be hyper efficient and cool to look at. Yeah, I turned to drink some water and died. That happens frequently. That's not a big deal because I have a plan. After a quick reset, I start placing the stone blocks I need. My goal is to make a very nice big pad to give myself plenty of room to place down all the equipment I'll need. My goal is to get a constant circulating river that'll move the sheep from one place to another, give them plenty of time to graze, and of course shear them. I've got the basic dimensions lined up, but of course it's nighttime now and mobs are spawning up here to join me, so I'm probably going to just shoot them off for now, and once they start piling up so much that it's too dangerous, I'll have to start actually fighting them. Placing blocks, placing blocks, placing blocks. I love Minecraft, but God, it can be boring. I have made a lot of progress on the sky platform, but of course a large number of enemy mobs are spawning during the nighttime. I really should be dragging a bed up here. But, of course for now, they are completely overwhelming me, and I just have to bail. Don't know why I didn't just jump off the side. I thought I could take them. I would cut through this, but it's kind of exciting, so... Yeah, as soon as I start seeing creepers blow up all my hard work, I jump off. Once it's nice and safe in the daytime again, and I bring a bed up here, of course, I start work on the conveyor system. My goal is to have just enough room that the sheep could potentially eat some grass, and of course a constant flowing stream of water so they never stop moving. Once they cycle through the whole thing, they should be guaranteed to have regrown their fur. At least, I'm hoping so. I wasn't paying attention here and fell off right into the water below, and despite my best efforts at lighting it up to make it mob-proof, the drowns still spawn down here, and a trident drown was very interested in poking me. Boy, I am glad this is not a hardcore series. Well, now that that's over, back to work. My secular river system seems to be fully operational. Of course, I'm going to have to wait for the grass to grow, but this should be functional to keep the sheep constantly moving and grazing, though I am a little worried that they might not have time to actually graze. I grabbed some leads and attached all the sheep to them, and was confidently going to lead them all the way up this rickety staircase to the top. I quickly backpedaled from that once I realized there was no hope of getting them all up at once. I'll have to do it one at a time. There's no rush, and I'll breed them once they're up there, so technically I only need 2. But I take my time, and I go one step. The sheep follows me the whole way up. As soon as I'm up at the top, it's just a matter of getting the sheep to walk on in. Come on, sheep, walk on in. Yeah. Now, I hope this works. And it does. Alrighty then, it's time for a breeding montage. The only way this machine will work is if there's enough sheep to actually make it work. The sheep simply pass through some dispensers, which have shears, of course, loaded into them, and I made a crap ton of shears so I don't have to worry about replacing them constantly. There I accidentally place a wool block. I have no idea why I did that. And of course they go over some hoppers. So all of this should mean that I'll have plenty of wool.
One eternity later.
Yeah, so that thing I was working on for the first start of this video, it's gone now. I blew it up with TNT. Basically, the sheep were not eating, and no matter how many of them I bred, it didn't seem to matter. They weren't growing back their wool, and I think the machine itself was actually stopping them from doing that. So I did a quick Google search online, watched a couple of YouTube videos, and I just made a real quick sheep farm that's much smaller, and I'm moving on to the next project. So here's the sheep farm. Obviously it's on top of grass blocks, but it's also made of glass blocks. It also has dispensers and detectors and hoppers and all sorts of stuff. Essentially this giant hopper chain is just to feed in shears so that the sheep can always be shorn. I'm using powered rail because it's less laggy and observers to trigger them all. And when the sheep are shorn, you probably hear that minecart running all about. That's collecting the wool. That clicking is from an auto dispenser trying to put it into a silo behind me. Once all the wool is collected and put into the silo and spit out into the silo, it pretty much just sits in a big pile, and I got a couple of looms and stuff sitting underneath. So here we are. All of the slabs underneath are half slabs for water, so I can use the cauldrons. And of course we're getting a lot of dyed wools, because I dye the sheep, I don't just collect the dye. And I have some dyed wool in a barrel for making banners, so that's how I made my shield. My shield looks pretty awesome right now. It's got a banner attached to it. And that's pretty much it. Next project. That sheep farm not working out left me pretty disappointed, but I still have a ton of oak wood from me farming trees and stuff. Most of it's over in the block depot, but a lot of it's still down here. I think I'm going to figure out some kind of project to do with it. It'll just be on the fly, like most of my projects. No more planning. Planning seemed to let me down, and it's only a bigger disappointment when things don't work out, so I'm going to grab the allays and figure out something. While I'm thinking of something to do with all that wood, I start playing with banners again. I'd made a pretty cool banner pattern for my shield, but now I just want to play around for a bit. Yes. Heh, America. I'm clearing land because I'm going to make an aesthetically pleasing building. Yes. I don't know what functional purpose this building will serve, but I know it will make me feel better to have built it. They say all buildings start with a single block. Unless you're one of the weirdos who puts down a bed first. Okay, frame is up, and now it's time to fill in the walls with some wood blocks. I also stripped the logs. I like the lighter look. It makes it look, I don't know, more barny. And after I get the barn built, I will decide what I'll do with it. So here we have it. I especially like these bricked in lower windows. They serve no functional purpose, but I like them. Now all I have to do is go grab some materials and start work on the roof. It's Thatchet. Love me a Thatchet roof. These in particular hay blocks are from the recycled oil rig, but I'm going to need a lot more of them, so there'll be a little bit of farming during the project. I have successfully put the Thatchet onto the roof, or built the roof, or whatever you want to say. Of course, this leaves plenty of room for a second floor. I like it. It's got a nice depth to it, and it's looking nice. Before I could finish the inside, however, someone showed up while I was gathering materials. Temporarily, I will be abandoning that project to hang out with Majin JMac while he's on the server. He's not going to build a base of his own ever, and all of his resources and items are pretty much whatever he can keep in his pockets, so I will likely have to help him grind his individual items. To that end, I will give him this American flag shield. While Majin JMac was on a murdering rampage over at the mob spawner, I went ahead and hatched a chicken. He gave me 6 eggs, and I quickly tried to get more chickens into the other chicken coops. Normally I do giant auto-mechanized chicken coops, but they're very loud and I don't want them on this island, even at high altitude, because I plan on building taller buildings. I'll have to export that somewhere else. Ooh, this guy in here's a problem. Kill him. Good job.
There we go. Now there's a bunch of them coming over here. There's one that's kind of oblivious back here in the corner. Let's see if I can hit them real quick. Oh no, here they come.
I'm killing the normal piglin around so that more zombies can spawn. There's some down there. I really need to, do more mining in this area to connect all the various land masses. It's not as good as some of my previous bunkers, you know. When Majin JMac departed, I was still in the mood to do a project, so I looked at how much wood I had and how much wool, and decided to head out into the water, just below where the last project got blown up with TNT. With the help of an ocean monument, I began clearing the seabed below. moving all these structures that make drowned, and clearing out some of the stuff that's just in the way. Whatever it is I'm going to build, it's going to stand right on the bottom. And of course after that, I built this thing. It's me, my skin built to ×2 1 block to 1 pixel ratio. And I don't think I'll show any of the footage of me building it because it's boring. It's nothing but wood blocks and stained glass for my head. I think this is a good spot to go ahead and just wrap up this video. It's getting a little long and I really haven't accomplished all that much. So go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me keep the channel going and it helps me in my internal battle with the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate your continued watching and I'll see you in the next one. For now, I'll be saying bye bye.